Canelo Alvarez has finally responded to his shocking loss against Terence Crawford, and the boxing world is on fire with speculation about a potential rematch.
Can you describe what it was like for you fighting Bud, what he was doing that was giving you the kind of problems that you couldn't really do enough to get what would have been, I guess, a close decision?
We knew Crawford is a great fighter. I did what I supposed to do, right? I tried for every way, trained really hard. He deserved all the credit. No, I try my best tonight, and I just cannot figure out the style.
Yeah. Canelo, I may be the only one. I thought you won the fight. I scored it for you.
You know, we need to accept it. We need to accept it. No matter what, in the scorecard, we lost it.
Well, you're the best. You're the number one fighter in the world, and
Thank
I think keep shining. You're the champion.
Thank
want
you.
the rematch, Canelo?
Sus 3 derrotas, 2 son entre 2 de los 15 mejores boxeadores de la historia. Eso que habla de ti.
Sometimes you try and your body cannot go. That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So I try it, but my body just not let me go.
Fans are already asking the big question. If Canelo and Crawford stepped back into the ring, how would it play out? And could Canelo possibly flip the script the second time around? Canelo admitted that Crawford was the better man on the night. He couldn't find his rhythm, his timing was off, and Crawford's slick counters and footwork kept him from landing the heavy combinations that usually break opponents down. For a man who has dominated so many of the world's best, the loss was a bitter pill to swallow.
So just for everybody here, what do you take from this night? A defeat, but what do you extract from tonight?
Fue una gran noche para el boxeo. Me siento muy orgulloso de lo que se logró hoy. Como mexicano me siento muy orgulloso de lo que he logrado, de hasta donde he llegado para representar a mi país. Me siento muy orgulloso. Fue una gran noche para el boxeo.
A great night for boxing, a great night for the sport, for everyone. And as a Mexican, everything that I have accomplished for my people, for the country, very proud, and a great night for boxing.
Straight back, Canelo. Straight back. Right here. Can you describe what it was like for you fighting Bud, what he was doing that was giving you the kind of problems that you couldn't really do enough to get what would have been, I guess, a close decision?
Y para todos, ¿cómo fue enfrentar a Bud Crawford, los problemas que te dio y cómo no pudiste seguir con tus planes?
We already know. We knew Crawford is a great fighter, and I did what I supposed to do, right? I tried for every way, and I trained really hard, and he deserved all the credit. No, I try my best tonight, and I just cannot figure out the style.
Was it something specific, the movement or his speed or power, or what? Was there something you could put your finger on that gave you the most trouble?
Everything.
Okay.
He have everything.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab. He used his distance. He had poise in the ring. He wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Listen, Floyd was the greatest in his era. I'm the greatest in my era. It ain't no need to compare me to Floyd or Floyd to me.
And contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terrence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
But Canelo has made it clear he is not done, and he is already thinking about what he can do to turn things around. So how would a rematch look? Analysts are debating the adjustments Canelo would have to make. First and foremost, he would need to close the distance faster. In their fight, he allowed Crawford to dictate the range, letting him use his speed and precision to rack up points. If Canelo wants to win the rematch, he has to cut off the ring, trap Crawford, and work the body relentlessly.
It's wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time.
Oh, yes.
That makes a difference to people.
That's incredible. You look down the resume, and this guy has stepped up and fought everyone and anyone. I don't want to hear any David Benavidez talk. That's the only one where I can say, oh, he kind of ducked Benavidez. But aside from that, he's taken on all comers. I don't know what else there is left to achieve. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, right? Like achievements, targets. I don't know what is left to achieve. Like when you set out as a boxer, I guess, if you're good, then I guess you're hoping to become a world champion. If you're good, and you're hoping if I become a world champion, I make some good money. I mean, I read out how many times he's been a world champion, and I read out how much money I think he's made. So he's ticked all the boxes. Like every single box has been ticked. But there will be this itch that he has. And I've been around Canelo a few times. And that boy is intense sometimes. Sometimes he's chill, but sometimes he's intense. And he isn't going to want to go out like that. Yes, he didn't get splattered on the canvas, but he got comprehensively beaten. And I feel like there will still be a few more Canelo fights to right that wrong. Now, I don't know if he tries to right the wrong against Crawford. I don't know if there was a rematch clause in that fight. I guess there probably would have been. I mean, if you are undisputed at 168 pounds, I think you'd be stupid not to put a rematch clause in there. So look, he might go back to the drawing board, go back to his camp and say, can we beat Crawford? Like have an honest conversation with Eddie Reynoso and the other trainers in that camp and say, can we beat him? And if we can, where did we go wrong? Can we fix it in time to get in the ring with him again in 7 or 8 months? And if Eddie says no, then there has to be a real conversation of, okay, what's the point then?
Trademark body shots that broke down fighters like Kovalev and Saunders were missing, and many believe bringing that game back is the key to success. But then again, Crawford is no ordinary opponent. He is adaptive, calm under pressure, and able to switch stances mid-fight to completely throw opponents off. That's what makes him so dangerous. Even if Canelo does adjust, Crawford can readjust on the fly, creating new problems every round. That's why fans are calling him the most complete boxer alive.
Saw you before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. He's a GOAT. Greatest of all time, man. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to his coaches, not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists. Everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terrance?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
First reaction, of course, it was about size of Crawford. Is it okay for him to move up 2 weight classes? Yeah. But then I saw him in Dubai. I saw him. He's big and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight. But there is a lot of there is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's different, big difference to be honest. But he's able. He has good skills. He's awkward. He can use 2 boxing stand.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
But not 68.
Nah, Benavidez is...
Oh, Canelo. Yeah.
Oh, Canelo. I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, when he's fought Belenga, then fought Ryder, Munguia. It's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Still, the rematch stigma is huge. Some fans say a second fight would look the same, with Crawford simply being too slick, too sharp, and too versatile. Others argue that Canelo now has the blueprint. He knows what to expect, he knows Crawford's rhythm, and with the right game plan, he could turn the tables and remind the world why he was considered untouchable for so long. And let's not forget the legacy factor. For Canelo, a rematch is not just about redemption, it's about proving that his era is not over, that he can still beat the best of the best and cement himself as one of the all-time greats. For Crawford, a second win over Canelo would erase every doubt and permanently seal his place as the pound-for-pound king. The boxing world is split. Would Canelo bring the adjustments, the pressure, and the power to finally crack Crawford's defense? Or would Crawford once again use his timing, precision, and adaptability to dominate? Fans want answers, and the only way to get them is a second fight. One thing is certain, if the rematch happens, it would be one of the biggest fights in boxing history. Two legends, one seeking redemption, the other aiming to secure immortality, and the entire world will be watching.